there any other song in your heart?
There's no other songs in my heart at this time.
Okay, so what do we want to talk about? What do you...
A living.
Okay.
A few questions that your people would be interested in knowing.
Dad's coming to tell us something. What?
No, I was going to say, like what your mom, the things that maybe what your mom was talking about, like how you interviewing.
Oh, we just came from Santa Fe, and I legit interview Israel's mom every single time I see her. Like, legit. Like, it's 2020.
It's anxiety-inducing for her.
It's a
fantastic.
2020 interview. Like, I'm like, hi, okay. So, when a black son, and you took him to preschool for the first time, she actually told us an amazing story, which was that, you know, as a white mom raising a black son in a community where there were not other kids that looked like him, she naturally was afraid to send him to preschool. And she cried, like literally cried. I'm sure so many moms had that similar story of bringing their children to school for the first time.
Right.
And you walk behind and you're like, I hope he'll be okay. And Israel, being no different than he is today, how old are you when you go to preschool?
I was 4 at the time.
Yeah. And he literally...
I walked in, my mom was all nervous. It's great. I love taking Adrienne to my mom's because I find out things about my life that I did not know before. She has a way of bringing it out of people.
Well, because I just want to know everything about him. I want to know, like, what he did when he was little. I asked his mom weird questions, like, you know, like, did you just want to bite? Like, I see pictures of him as a kid. And if you've ever been in love, you know that feeling of just, like, being in love with someone's face. And I just...
Even without the beard?
I like you better
no,
with
she told me
your
she
beard.
didn't like it today. I couldn't take it anymore.
But
it
I
felt
like it. It's not that I don't
sandpaper.
like it. I just like it better.
It'll be back in like 3 days. Everybody
I like
calm
it
down.
better with the beard.
Thank you.
But
baby.
I asked his mom all these crazy questions, like, what was he like when he did this? And, you know, my mom was telling his mom, which I love our moms together.
Yes,
they
they're
are
fantastic.
fantastic.
They love each other.
And my mom was explaining to his mom that I was like a very strong-willed child. And Israel's mom said he was as well, which makes us so excited for our future children. They have no choice but to be strong-willed, unless we're just so strong-willed that they come out mad chill.
We know people like that,
Yeah.
like, who are crazy and their children are like...
Super chill. So Israel's like, I need proof that I was a strong-willed child, and this was the story.
Oh, so
See how
she
it's
took
bringing
me...
it full circle? See that? See how I do that?
This is how you should do this for a living. So I walk into preschool. My mom is, you know, I'm holding my mom's hand. I'm sure I was nervous for a bit there, and then
She said you were not.
And then I walked in and just kind of, you know, saw everybody in front of me, and I turned back to her and I was like, "Aren't you gonna leave?" And poor my mom. My mom was devastated.
Mom, aren't you gonna leave? And she said, she was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so worried about this kid, and he's fine." And that is so you. That's you. You walk into somewhere and be like, "I'm good."
Yeah. But you are too.
And you're a very friendly person. You've never met a stranger. You will talk to anyone.
At least once. I'll talk to anyone at least once.
This is true.
Then we'll see if
Then we'll see what happens.
we'll see if a connection was made or not.
Okay, I'm trying to see what everyone's saying.
Are you just hanging? People want you to sing with
Someone
us.
said I would love to meet baby Israel. Me too. Me too. I would like. Oh, it's so cute.
So there's a beach house. Our friend BK owns a beach house in Carlsbad.
Yes.
And we go there from time to time.
We love BK.
And he stays in Scottsdale most of the time. So we have keys to the house, and we just go to the house and hang out. I was born in Oceanside, which is right next to Carlsbad.
Tri-City.
So this one wanted to meet my baby self so bad that we like went to Tri-City Hospital, and like she was trying to find records. And because what people don't know is for the first month of my life, I was not with my mom. So I was kind of property of the state, and a social worker had essentially worked it out to give me to a family. My mother had agreed to that, but this was like prior to her becoming a Christian. So she became a Christian.
She thought she was doing the best thing for your life.
Yeah, because my mom had dealt with drugs, and she was young, and she was pretty much alone. And I've shared this story 1,000 times, but a lady came up to my mom. Charlene, whose birthday is today.
It is Charlene's birthday.
I have to call her. We're going to call her. Charlene, this beautiful woman, came up to my mom and just shared the gospel with her. And right on the street corner, my mother sat down on the curb, 8 months pregnant, and gave her life to the Lord. And at that point, though, she had already kind of said, yeah, you know, you could take my baby, mainly because there were drugs in her system, and the state said, we're going to take your kid from
regardless, so you might as well. And so she didn't name you?
She didn't name me.
They never put him on her chest even, so she didn't see you.
Yeah, they cut the umbilical cord, and I went off with some random family, which this one is obsessed.
This is, okay, hold up. Did y'all just see my Ugg slippers? If you didn't, there they are. Okay, hold up. This is really the reason why I wanted to go to Tri-City. If anyone is watching right now, if in 1971, on May 19th, no, guys, you're laughing, but I'm very serious. On May 19th, 1971, because it's really not funny. My heart breaks for this person.
Okay.
But someone took in a baby that was going by the name of Peter.
Yeah, they named me Peter for a month.
And they had him for an entire month. They took care of him as a newborn. I can't even fathom what that's like. And then at some point, his mother was able to prove that she had not been on drugs and that she wanted her baby back. But we don't know what that exact exchange was or how that went. So I know this is a really weird thing, but I want to say thank you. I know you want to say thank you to whoever that family was that had him for the first month. As heartbreaking as I can only imagine that must be, to have to give up a baby that you had for a month. You were Peter.
She's really anxious to meet this family. I just would like somebody who knows.
I don't know if they know that you are the baby. Like, what if they know your music? What if they, I just think that's wild that there's someone out there that took care of you for the first month of your life, which they actually say are some of Claude, right? My sister's a labor and delivery nurse. What do they say about babies? The first month is like
crucial, right?
Crucial to their development. Somebody has to, that if you don't hug a baby, they will die. Like, that's real facts. Yeah. Somebody was hugging you. You survived.
I made it.
You were loved.
All these years.
And you were loved. And I'm just so curious.
So a month later, my aunt, my mom's older sister, came and basically fought the state and fought the system.
Which was right, because technically they had bamboozled a 17-year-old girl and convinced her that the baby was going to be taken from her when that wasn't true. So she was done wrong, and obviously the woman that had you was done wrong too. It was two messed up situations.
So my mother thankfully named me Israel instead a month later, and she was reading the Bible and literally started page 1. Started reading it like, in the beginning, God created. So
in the what?
In the beginning.
Ina the beginning.
Started reading it like a novel. And when Jacob's name was changed to Israel, she said that's the metaphor for my life. And that's how I got my first name. My middle name is a little bit different because she was also reading The Omen at the same time. So a little bit of confusion for brand new baby Christians. Anyway, so I still like your middle name.
I think it's a dope middle name.
Thank you, baby.
So, again, if you got a baby from Tri-City in Oceanside,
Tri-City Hospital.
I'm just saying, you never know. Or somebody tell somebody.
Hit us, let somebody know.
I'm just so curious.
Yeah, it's funny. She's literally, every time we hang with my mom, she'll ask her all of those questions, like, what were the circumstances? What was he wearing?
The first time we heard the story, we were actually with Jake and Lucia, who are our faves. We love them. And his mom says, they told me to go to an office, like a social worker's office, to get the baby. And I just went there. And I wanted to know if the other woman or family was going to be there to hand the baby off. And she said, no, it was a social worker, right?
Oh, wow.
And they said they just gave me a baby. And Jake goes, how did you know it was yours? And funny enough, she's like, honestly, she didn't at the time, right? They just handed her a baby. Yeah. It's definitely her kid.
Yeah, we did Ancestry.com and everything.
Proof,
We're good.
I'm trying to see. Claude, they're asking you to sing.
Everybody's like, encore Claude, for real.
Israel's middle name is Demian.
She might join us next week, guys, and sing. Damien is my middle name. All right, we need a question for Adrienne. Let's see. Anybody have a great... Somebody wants to know about Adrienne. Let's see. Can Claudette sing? Okay,
literally,
Claude is going to join us next week.
Claudette sing, Claudette sing.
We're going to make her sing with us next week.
When are you coming to El Paso? Well, we're in this thing called a pandemic. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, how are people dealing with the pandemic? I kind of want to know that. I mean, I know it's still a little bit crazy out there, a lot of it crazy out there.
Super crazy.
We're upstate New York, and we're in a place that has had no cases, so we feel pretty good.
And we're just continuing to quarantine together as a family.
Yeah.
And that's been amazing. It's been just odd. I just can't believe it. Like it's going on how many months now?
March, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months.
6 months. People are thanking you for your testimony, baby.
Oh, hey, you're welcome. Thank you.
I as many times as I've heard it, his testimony never gets old. So I love hearing his story and his testimony. So
as many times as you've heard of Hosanna, does it ever get old?
It never. Clearly it doesn't get old. I'm all like, and then you try to sing at that low Hosanna. It wasn't gonna happen. I just had to give up.
So
Isra.
Can you guys do a video on your trip across the country? Yes.
We are doing it for All Things Adrienne.
Yeah, we filmed a bunch of it.
I'm gonna do a vlog.
It was fun. We had good times, right?
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. I pretty much slept the whole time, but the drivers had an amazing time. No, we had fun.
The RV conked out.
The RV, oh yeah, I gotta hand it to my brother-in-law, Jared, and to Papa Joe. The last 5 hours of the trip was, the RV went into something called limp mode.
That don't even sound cute.
I know, it sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
And it was like a governor on the wheel sensors. So like, it was like, it would never go above 40 miles an hour. So that was exciting.
So there was that.
I don't know if Adrienne's going to make another album, or if there's a possibility to make an album in Spanish gospel.
Oh.
I mean, we're always creating, so you never know. I want another record from her. If you guys don't have New Tradiciones,
the holidays is coming up,
you should have that record. We listen to it all year long. Well, by we, I mean me. I love that record.
I don't ever listen to myself sing, so definitely I don't. But I will say, I think we killed you. No, you killed it. Israel produced the album, and it's pretty dope. Shout out. It's pretty dope. Oh, I spit all over you. Sorry.
It's not the first time. Shout out to Oscar Cartaya as well for producing the record with us and bringing real Puerto Rico salsa sazon to it. Yeah.
I am impressed with that Spanish.
Wow.
The girls, my nieces, quiz Israel on his Spanish, so they'll be like, cheese in Spanish. What does queso? Or they'll be like, what does queso mean? And they make you guess what it is.
I love it. They're keeping me on my toes for when our babies come. Our babies are only going to speak Spanish, right?
People are on here really trying to help us find the family that named you Peter and took care of you for the first months of your life.
Go for it. Put the word out.
Isn't there a way to find that out? And I don't think they did things that way back in the day. Because we kind of have looked into it, and
it's been really difficult to find.
We got no answers.
But yeah, marriage advice tips.
Okay. And I am no expert, but I read this saying. No, I didn't read a saying. It was this is me and Ron. This is pretty much what All Things Adrienne really looks like before it's all edited down. It's me going, so I know this thing. Nah, I don't really know. Okay, right. Okay, but seriously, it was something to the effect of, we always say that the like is more important than the love. And people sometimes are like, what does that mean? It's about compatibility over chemistry. So being in love with somebody, literally they've done science on it, and it actually scientifically is something that your body releases. What's the drug? The
serotonin?
Chemical? No, it's called
pheromones.
No, it's not endorphins.
Yeah.
No.
Dopamine.
No, it's something else, baby.
Serotonin.
No.
It's not for pheromones?
No, guys, it's something else. Put it in the comments what it's called.
Something that's released when you're in love.
When you are in love, your body actually legit scientifically releases a chemical called...
I thought it was serotonin.
They say endorphins. Dopamine? No.
Okay.
I'm going with serotonin, guys.
Dopamine.
I said dopamine too.
Okay, sorry,
you
dopamine.
shot me down on both. Do you really like me?
I really... Oxytocin. That's the word I was looking for.
Oxytocin is released when...
No, Bible, it's called oxytocin.
When you have a baby, right? Yeah, when you have a baby.
No, okay.
Wrong.
Guys, whatever. The point is your body absolutely releases a chemical that tells your body that you are in love. It is a real life thing. They say it can last up to 2 to 3 years.
And then
it goes away. Like legit, the chemical that made you feel it is oxytocin. I was right. Claude just confirmed as a registered nurse.
As a healthcare professional.
It is oxytocin. Once that oxytocin wears off, being in love with somebody becomes a choice. It is no longer a feeling. It is no longer a chemical reaction that your body is having to being attracted to someone, to liking them. And that, to me, is the really important part, is literally finding someone that even without that chemical, you would still want to be married to. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does. You getting eaten by mosquitoes?
A little bit. But Claude, we just recently were talking about, this is so random. Remember the conversation about the expectation of marriage and how important that is to just be on the same level of expectation of what you want marriage to be. On the real, we had discussed sexless marriages and how some of those are actually by choice, where two people make a decision that that's what they want. And at the time, I couldn't wrap my head around that.
Still can't. Thank you.
I still can't wrap my head around that for me. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I can't wrap my head around
Jesus.
that for
yes,
me.
It makes sense.
But I've talked to other people who have shared their stories where both of their expectations were the same, and they were able to love each other and have what? Intimacy.
Yeah, without
necessarily having sex. And Iz and I were talking about that with Claude one day randomly in a car ride, and we were like, that's actually really beautiful. The idea, and we were saying how great it would be if the next generation and the generations to come actually learned to love their significant other or the person that they were in love with that idea in mind that, like, I'd still choose you even if that wasn't there.
If you became paralyzed or something, you know what I mean?
If
the ability, even not even just the desire, but if the ability were gone, is this the person that I would, take care of? Is this the person that I'd still
find
a way to make her laugh, etc.? All that kind of stuff is very
that
important.
I'd want that intimacy with them, with or without that, because so many of us are tempted by just the sexual idea of having a partner or the sexual idea of someone, or like, I would even. Sadly, in our church community, for a lot of young people that rush into marriage, a lot of that has to do with wanting to have sex with them. And that's just the reality of real conversations that we've had.
We were discussing people we grew up with in church.
Who
everybody was getting married every other month.
We counted it.
And all of them were divorced.
Over 10 marriages of all of our youth leaders that
Same.
then got divorced. And we were like, wow, how important it is to marry someone not just based on a desire that you have for them or the in-love idea or the in-love feeling, but that you marry someone that you really, really like and that you're really, really compatible with. Not just that you have chemistry with. If you can have both, amazing. I'd like to think we have both. We have chemistry and we got compatibility.
Yes, we do.
So I appreciate that. But that to me is such an important part
Somebody asked us, what's the biggest challenge since we've been married? Wait, who's that?
Lou was just saying about a Spanish album.
Oh, yeah.
But, so that would be the tip I give, is marry somebody that you actually...
Like.
That, man, you really like them. I would want to be your friend regardless. Like, I really like you.
And I want to be your friend too, but your live is going to go off in like 4 minutes.
It is. So
mine will keep going.
What was the question they asked?
I've got some sort of
what was the question, baby?
In with Instagram. The question was, what is the biggest challenge you guys have had since you've been married?
I answered the last one. You answered too.
I wish I could give you like some glowing, like obvious problem. I think when you meet your soulmate, and you have that chemistry and that compatibility she was talking about, there's a lot that, there are things that certainly have been challenging, but most of them have been...
No,
I
think what's been challenging. No, I want us to be
the one thing you've been open about and kind of vocal about is like we thought we would get pregnant right away.
Yeah,
and that
honestly has been
a challenge.
The biggest challenge, like, but it's not a challenge with each other. It's like the two of us fighting for something we want together. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Versus like, I'm trying to think if there's been a challenge between us.
There really hasn't. I mean, our arguments generally end up
so dumb and funny.
They end up with somebody making the other person laugh. And that one for me is I know I'm not going to win an argument against Adrienne, so I don't even try. And
that'll be my argument. My argument is I want him to try.
Yeah.
I want him to try.
And there are certain things
Tell
like
me
if
what's
I feel
wrong. Tell me
if I feel strongly about it and go, I feel like this should be blah blah blah, then I will do that, and I do that sparingly. I do that from time to time, mainly because
I know when you do
this
that,
is going to sound like a cop out, right? But I am so freaking fascinated with this woman, and as far as I'm concerned, she could do no wrong.
Being like, she is so strange that I
don't know, but she can be strange sometimes. Some days she loves me. I could wake up in the morning, I could feel her smiling at me, and I wake up and I look at her, and it's amazing. There are other days, we're gonna have to go for a walk first before she likes me again, and it's just that way. But even that I find incredibly hysterical and fascinating. You might want to start saying goodbye to your people.
Oh yeah, mine shuts off at exactly an hour. So we will continue this conversation on Israel's. I'm going to log off here, you guys, before it logs me off. Or let's just wait till it logs me off. And head over to Israel's live, and we'll keep chatting.
Maybe we'll get Claude to sing. I don't know.
9, and it didn't log me out.
But I don't know if you started right at 8.
That's a good point. Let me log out. All right, love you guys. Head over to Israel's page so that we can keep chatting.